Hey, just sitting out here playing with these turkeys. Hey, somebody's popping in. How's it going? I hope everything works out good today. This wind is blowing like crazy and it's really cold. Hey, Avetta, James. Hey, Jessica. How's everybody doing? All the turkeys were out here a minute ago, so as soon as I went live, they all left. Kyle, how's it going? Welcome back to Kinfolk Farm School. This live is dedicated for all you kids that want to learn how to grow your own food on your property. So I'm hoping we have some young folks pop in. I'll give it a few minutes. I'll give it a few minutes to get some folks in. I've been having a ball just sitting out here playing with these turkeys. They were all right here just a second. As soon as I went live, they walked away. 2 minutes before I went live, they all walked away. It is a nice, cool day. Cool, and well, of course, the wind died down now, but it's been really windy today. I hope you guys have enjoyed your little chilly day. I think it's cold all across America. Hey, Kimmy Halls, Crafts, and more. Hey, I know you're cold. We'll give it just a. Oh, feels great outside. Yeah, it does now. Now it was a little cool this morning. I went deer hunting early this morning. It was really cold. But I'll give it a few minutes just to get some folks in here. Today we're going to talk about quail. I think if you notice my thumbnail, I sort of keep my thumbnail the same as the things I'd like to talk about. So I think today we're going to focus a little bit on quail. And as y'all know, I am obsessed with quail. I'm going to show you how we do it. A lot of people raise quail a lot of different ways, but I'm going to show you today how we do it. And it's worked out great for us. The way that we raise our quail works out great. Okay. Yeah, it works out really good. So we'll give it just a few minutes. I got 13 people in. Thank you guys for showing up. I hope there's some kids on here that are wanting to learn how to grow some things on their little piece of property. I want to stick with quail today just for the fact quail is something that anybody, me and my two little ones made it. Awesome, Susan, that's great. Quail, we're going to learn about quail today. Quail is something. Turned off. I had no idea because it didn't pop up on my screen. I hope y'all didn't hear. I wonder if y'all heard that or not. Anyway, somebody's trying to call me. But we're going to talk about quail today. We're live. We're going to talk about quail today for the simple fact quail is something that anybody can raise. Yeah, oops. Quail is something that anybody can raise on their piece of property. If you have a little spot in your backyard, you can raise quail. You can raise them in little tiny pens. You don't want to overcrowd your pens. You want to have enough to where enough room that the quail are going to be comfortable. You know, if you have a little tiny pen, you don't want 25 quail in a little tiny pen. And I'm not sure the square footage per bird, but just I don't know. I guess it's a conscious thing. You feel like they're overcrowded, they're probably overcrowded. Our pens, I'll show you our pens. We've got 16 people watching. I'm hoping we got some young folks in here that want to learn how to raise quail. We'll first start. We couldn't hear what you were saying while it was ringing. Yeah, I didn't say nothing. I was just saying, I was waiting for the ring to go away. You didn't miss anything. I was just basically waiting for the ring to go away. But I know I had that turned off. But anyway, I'll show you guys our pens. Now you can raise them in these little small pens that you can buy at Walmart or on Amazon. Look at my little turkeys, they're just having a ball out here. But you can put them in these little pens. If you use a little pen, I wouldn't put more than 6 or 7 birds in one of these little, I guess a 3x4 pens, you know, a little 3-foot wide pen maybe. I wouldn't put more than 5 or 6 birds in there. One thing I do recommend, well, I'll get to that later. But I wouldn't overcrowd my birds, is what I'm trying to say. I wouldn't overcrowd my birds. Our pens are these hoop style pens, and we have them all over our property. And they're super easy to build. If I can build them, anybody can build them. Hey Lila, how you doing? If I can build them, anybody can build them. But because I can't build anything, I'm the worst builder ever. But I'll tell you guys how we build them. If you guys are interested in building you a hoop style pen, I can tell you guys they're really, really easy to build. The 2x4s on the bottom, it's just a perfect square. It's an absolute perfect square of 101 inches. Each board is 101, and we just screw them together. And we have two these 16-foot hog panels that you raise pigs and stuff like that. Some people call them cattle panels. I guess we always call them a hog panel. And then you lay chicken wire over top the whole thing. And it's easiest if your hog panel's laid out on the ground, you roll that chicken wire out and zip strap it or wire strap it, somehow tie it down to that hog panel. That way when you make your fold to fold it over, it'll tighten that chicken wire up really tight on there. It'll put that bend in it and it'll really tighten that chicken wire down. It just works out a lot better. And it's a lot easier than having to throw that chicken wire over. Yeah, thanks, Annie. And we love them. They're super easy. And for us with our meat birds, they're easy to move too. They're just really, really nice little pens and super easy to make. But it's 101 for your boards. The hoop, 2 hog panels with chicken wire. And then we just take, and this is where we guess, is the frame of the door. We just guess. You'll notice on all our pens, all the doors look different. And they're all different measurements. We basically measure the bottom, and then that way we know about where to measure at the top. And we put the fencing staples, the little fencing staples right here. We just nail them in the top to keep it from moving. You might want to put one here to keep it from sliding around. Always put your American flag too. We put a flag on every pen. But the door has always been our biggest challenge. Like I say, we're the worst builders ever. But they always turn out pretty good. This one I think we built a little wide because it's heavy on this end. I have to lift up every time I open it. But they're super easy to build. And whatever gaps you have, you just fill in with chicken wire. We'll take and roll some chicken wire out. And like I say, we zip strap everything. We just put zip, y'all see that? We zip strap everything together and throw some tarps on there. And I would tarp the whole top. We have some like this one. I'll show you this pen right here. We tarp the entire thing, and we learn from trial and error. We tarp the whole thing, worked perfect. We tarp this one, and it stops right here, just a little sunlight and stuff in. And every time it rains, it's just always been a mess. Everything blows right in. And we've had problems with our quail getting gummed up feet from the poop and stuff. Gets wet, it stays wet longer. These pens are just, a full tarp just works so much better. It keeps them drier. It keeps their feet from getting, because you'll see, I'll try to find some that have the little gummed up feet, and you have to pick that off their feet. But it can get really bad. It can get really bad if you don't stay on top of it. But these pens are awesome. They're easy to make. We buy the little latches at Home Depot, hinges and latches and stuff, and we add little handles and stuff. Sometimes you put a handle on the inside. Really easy to build. And these pens, we put about 25 birds in each pen. And this one, and this one. And now we have a long one over in the duck yard. It's real long. It's 3 cattle panels long. And we'll put as many quail as we can handle in there, because that's where we raise all our meat. And as soon as it gets 8 weeks, we're processing them. We're not storing them up or anything like we do these, but as soon as they get 8 weeks, we process them. But no, you know what? I keep trying to remember to watch my comments. Crazy Critter Lady, the wind we haven't had a pen blow over. They're pretty heavy. I mean, I can't pick this one up now, but well, one thing, this has been here for 2 or 3 years, so it's pretty locked in the ground. But we haven't had one. No, they're heavy. They're heavy. They're easy to slide, but to pick them up, it takes 2 of us to pick them up. Matter of fact, we moved some from this pen or from this yard over to the other yard, and we couldn't carry them. Me and Travis picked them up, and we had to put them on the trailer and bring them over on the trailer. They're too heavy. But we're in Georgia. We don't have that bad of winds either. Let me make sure I hadn't missed any comments. I want to try to get all these comments. What if tarp would hold up in Oklahoma wind? And I'm not sure. Like I said, we just don't have that many or that high winds out here. We had some bad winds with a hurricane, but that's about it. My brother's taking notes. Has the wind ever taken the tarp off? No, we haven't. Like I say, we haven't had that problem. But we tarp it down. Well, be honest, we tarp this one, we skip that one, and we tarp that one. I think we skip every other one. But I believe if you were to zip tie every one of these little holes, I believe if you zip tied every one, I don't think you'd have a problem with it. And it's just a tarp. They're not expensive, because they will dry rot on you. They will dry rot after, I want to say 2 years, maybe a little longer. But we have to replace them. We definitely have to replace them every couple of years or so. Look at these guys. They must think they're going to get something to eat. They must think they're getting something to eat. But yeah, let me make sure. I want to try to stay on top of the questions today. Let's see. Pins, love the hoop pins, awesome. Okay. If any of you kids have questions out there, make sure, hey, Eric Jensen, what's going on, pal? Yeah, if y'all have any questions, I'm trying my hardest to keep up with them. Let's see. Hello from Alabama. Love these newfangled ways of farming. Awesome ideas. Well, great. Write these down. And what I was going to say also is this is the time to be building your pens in the winter. That way, come spring, you're not doing like we do and having to rush and try to get caught up. And it's just a disaster. Things are happening and you're trying to get caught up. Build your pens now. If you're interested in raising quail, build your pens now. That way, when spring comes, another thing, it's hard to find quail right now because none of them are laying. When it gets fall and winter, they completely quit laying eggs. So you'll see that it's a lot. How much would one pen cost? Well, we buy the big rolls of chicken wire. Oh gosh, I want to say 50 bucks. 50 bucks for the chicken wire. But we do a lot of these pens with one roll. And the hog panels, they're about $15 a piece. And 2x4s are not that expensive. A sheet of plywood, a lot of scrap stuff. We do a lot of scrap stuff. But $100 maybe 100 bucks. But gosh, they last forever. These things last. We do all pressure treated. They last a long time. So we've been out here 4 years and we've been using them the whole time. We ain't had no problem. We ain't had them fall apart or anything. We also brace the corners. I meant to tell you guys, we put the brace on all 4 corners. For when we do our meat chickens, we have to move them, and we're scared they'll come apart, but that just helps out a little bit. But these pens that we keep stationary, I don't know if you'd have to do that or not, but I would say $100, maybe a little more, Well, you tarp, and of course your American flag, you got to buy that. But and then whatever little trinkets you want inside, like for feeders and waters, I was going to take and show y'all that here next. I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. Build your pens now, as I was wanting to say, for the simple fact you can't hardly find quail right now, but come spring, you can find quail everywhere. You'd be surprised. You go on Craigslist or any little farmer's shopping guide or Google, would cedar pickets work for the doors? I don't see why not. Came over from, oh, thanks, Sally Bell. Appreciate that. I don't see why they wouldn't work. Like I say, it's just all you're trying to do is keep the birds in and keep the predators. Keep the birds from getting out and keep the predators from getting in. Because we have had raccoons, or I'm not sure if it's a raccoon or a cat, but the birds like to sleep right along the edge. They like to sleep right along the edge, and animals can get there and they'll reach their fingers in there. We've had our little disasters, but I'll be doing videos of how we get rid of that. We do a lot of trapping around here. But yeah, build your pens now. I keep getting off track. Build your pens now. For when spring comes, you can get your birds and your pens are set up and ready to go. Because when spring gets here, you can go on Craigslist, any farmer's guide. I've never seen any for sale like at Tractor Supply, like you would find chickens or something. But you can find quail really easy. I was really surprised because we were going to sell the quail eggs, and I just started giving them away for the fact everybody's got quail eggs on Craigslist. I mean, it was just list after list after list. And I just said, heck with it. I just started giving them to everybody. I thought it was a lot fun, a lot nicer. And I like to see everybody get into it. Quail are awesome. I would raise quail before I raise chickens. For the fact they're right here. You ain't got to worry about things getting out or things getting them when they're out, hawks and stuff. They're right here. You know where they're always at. They're sitting there eating. Let's go in and check them out and find some other stuff to chit chat about. But that's our pens. You can build your pens now, and there's a ton of different ways to build them. You build little rabbit pens. If you know anybody that has any rabbit pens they want to get rid of, they don't have to be pens like this. You can put them in rabbit pens where the poop goes through. You can get the poop out because you will have to clean up behind them. But anyway, just to keep some quail, they're simple little birds to raise, and the eggs, just the payback from having quail, they're just awesome. They're awesome. You get eggs like crazy. And if you want to start doing the birds for meat, you can do them separate. And it's just, they're such a high production bird. You just can't go wrong with quail. But let me show you the quail. They're all over here. They'll settle down after a minute. They'll settle down after a minute. They're really doing good. And we have 25. We have 25 in this pen. And they're super easy to raise. If you have an incubator and want to hatch out your own eggs, they hatch in 16 days, 16 to 18 days. We'll run ours, and once they start hatching, we'll let them go another 3 days because you'll get late hatchers. Not like a chicken. The chickens, they usually hatch pretty quick, but quail will drag on about 3 days. We've had some really drag on, but we like to try to get as many out of our hatch as we can, and we'll do 100, 120 at a time. And we've been averaging about a 60% hatch rate, 50 to 60% hatch rate. That's why we try to do so many. But I'm trying to think of what all. One thing, if you decide to get quail and you decide to hatch eggs, you can gather your eggs every day and store them up for 7. They say 7 to 10 days. We store ours for about 7 days. Just sit them on the counter, and you can hatch those, and you'll accumulate them over a 7-day period, and put them on the incubator and get a 50 to 60% hatch rate, and then that can be your meat birds for later, or if you want to start a whole new flock next year, or give them to your friends like we do. It's just a lot of fun. Let's talk about the waterers first. When you hatch, I keep getting off track. When you hatch, or if you get little babies, please show your watering system. I'm going to, Sally, but I'm getting to that right now. Thanks for reminding me. Y'all got to keep me on track. You'll learn, Sally. Do you have any problems with hard water clogging, nipples up? Not yet. Sure haven't. And we're on a whale, but we haven't had any problems with it. They'll come and just peck at it and just get their water. No problem. And I'm gonna show you guys when you hatch your birds, or if you get little baby birds from somebody, they should be really cheap. You want a brooder box, something to raise them up in with a heat lamp, just like chickens. And you'll feed them wild game bird grower. You can buy it at Tractor Supply. Any feed store will have it. It would be a wild bird game grower. They have 2 different kinds: wild game bird grower and wild game bird starter. That's what you want for the baby chicks. Wild game bird grower when they get around 4 or 5 weeks and up. Starter, just like you're starting baby birds. I get that mixed up. But once you hatch them, or you have your little babies, you'll want a water system too inside your brooder. You're going to want a little way to feed them. They are messy as far as feeding and watering goes. They make, you've seen these little watering buckets at Tractor Supply and stuff, where they make one for quail. They got the wide mouth ones, the real wide mouth ones for chicks and ducks and stuff. They actually sell these at Tractor Supply for quail, so they don't get in there and stomp around and get wet, because you don't want your little babies to get wet. A couple of dollars, and we got a bunch of them, but they just work great. They just can get their head in there, because when you get quail, they are tiny. They are really cute. They're just the best. They're really tiny and cute. You're gonna love them. I know I'm missing some comments. Let's see. Hey Shane, good Monday. Hey Joanne, how you doing? 35. Yeah, it felt like that this morning. I think it was 37 this morning. But once you raise them up, we usually keep them in a brooder box about 2 weeks on heat. And basically once they feather out, they'll feather out really quick. Everything happens. Quail babies need to be warmer than chickens. No, I just keep the heat lamp. I don't want it too low. I'm paranoid it's gonna be about fire. I don't want it too low. Maybe about a foot off the ground. You don't have to. I raise them just like I do chickens. I raise them the same way. Love the baby quail. Yeah, Jessica loves them. We all do. They're just the best. When they start hatching, we all get so excited. I'm gonna lose my train of thought again. Oh, Once you hatch them, yeah, once they feather out, best first bird. Yep, yeah, I remember you said that. Yeah, yeah, they're so easy to raise. Um, but once they feather out, we'll take them outside. Once they start getting feathers, and it happens really quick. It's around 2 weeks. They'll feather out and get their nice little hard feathers, what we call them. They're not real fluffy. They get that hard coat of feathers on them. And hey, Donna, they get that hard coat of feathers on them. Then we take them outside and we bring them into these pens, and we start our watering. So you can just bail on these. We go ahead and stop with these. Anything that was in the brooder house, we stop all that and we bring them out to the big stuff. And what we built, and we learned this on YouTube. We learned all this on YouTube by trial and error. We got a 4-inch PVC, and this is about the most. These things are expensive. I can't joke around with these. These things were expensive, but we bought them by the whole stick. We would buy them by the stick, and they were 20 bucks or so, if not more than that. They were really expensive for the 4-inch, but I think the 4-inch works better. For one thing, it holds more water. But we just had a 4-inch pipe, and we put the PVC glue in, and we bought one of these little pieces here, and just added some, caps, end caps. And these little things here, you can buy them at Tractor Supply, or you can order them on Amazon, which I would recommend Amazon for the fact I think everything's cheaper on Amazon. And here's our lid. It's just, we don't throw any of these away. We use them for everything. But they just work great. And the birds have never had a problem getting water. They just work great. They just work great. 4-inch PVC, and then I can't remember what this. It's a T, I guess. And then add some more. However long you want to do it. And there's a lot of different ways to water your birds. This is just the way we've done it. We learned this actually from Keeping It Dutch, another YouTube channel, and they just work phenomenal. They're just awesome. I love them. We put them in all our pens. All our pens have these. And for our feed, we basically do the same thing, but we use a 3-inch instead. And we put an elbow, and then we drill 3 holes with 1-inch drill bit, 1-inch hole bit, and it's just gravity fed. You fill them up at the top, and they just gravity feed. And you can see they don't miss a beat. They're constantly in these things eating. Let me make sure if you guys have any more comments. 6 or 7 hours ahead. Wow, it's late, huh? Well, I appreciate you guys stopping by. I just thought we'd do a little quail learning today. I would love it if all you guys got quail. I think it's scary getting into something new like that, something you've never done before. But that's how we've done everything here. We just make sure you got to get back to work. Oh, okay. Lila, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. Yeah, we just jump into whatever we decide, we think about. Do the feeders ever get clogged? Yeah, in the end, they do. That's another reason to make sure that this tarp goes all the way down, because we've had water come and drip. I'm sorry, you probably can't see. We've had water come down the tarp if you don't have it all the way down and clog them up. We have had some problems with clogging. But once you figure it out, it stops. How long does it take to build one pen? We build them in a day. It's 101 all the way around. Screw them together real quick. Put your corner. We put our 101 all the way around first. We build our frame first. Then we put the hog panels up. And then you put your braces in, because you may have to cut a little section of chicken wire, like right here. You may have to cut a piece. And then we use these washers and screw everything down with that. That way it grabs a hold to the chicken wire. I hope y'all can see that. It grabs the chicken wire really well. And we screw everything down like that to keep predators out. Because you have raccoons, possums, cats, everything trying to get your little quail, everything. And we have had snakes. Snake find its way in. I don't know how, but they do. They find their way in. We've had 2 so far. They'll find their way in and eat a couple quail, and they get so fat they can't get out. It's always different also with the different times. Okay, let's see, do you have any problems with algae in the water? Crazy Critter Lady, we have this one right here. It has been doing that, and I'm not sure. Not bad. I'll see if I can look that in there. Just not, well, let's see, I'm looking at y'all. Just a little. See if you can see that. Just a little. It's probably time to clean it out, but we just ain't had time. But we haven't had it like built. They drink it super fast, but you just have that little film that goes around. But you have a video showing how to build one. You know, I looked. Hey, honey. I looked today. You told me that last night. I actually looked today. I don't have any of them titled how to build a quail pen. I probably should do one and build another pen. But I'm trying how to raise quail. One of my videos is about us building these pens. I remembered. If you'll check out my playlist under quail, I have a bunch of different quail videos on there, and one of them is actually how to build these pens. I think I just titled it sort of a snazzy title. Instead, I should have just titled it how to build a quail pen. But it's super, Eric. It's really easy, really, really easy. Like I say, 2 hog panels. Oh, while I'm in here, another thing. These 2 hog panels, where they meet up, we take a big piece of wire. Actually, we use hog rings. If you've never seen a hog ring, they sell them at Tractor Supply and stuff. Everything's Tractor Supply. But you have to have a pair of pliers too, and tighten this together. We'll go through, let's see if you can see that. But we just put these right here to sort of hook these together, and we'll put them every other little loop all the way around, and that'll make it more solid in here too, because they're really solid. They're really solid. But just join those together, that's all. Zip straps, chicken wire. It's really, really easy. It's, like I say, I always say, you're not building a house, you're just building something to hold in some quail. Let's see. How, but I don't remember. Yeah. Let's see. Good idea, Kim. Let's see. Yeah, it's on my quail playlist. Like I say, I think I did one of those snappy titles for it, but I think it's how to raise quail or something like that. And I think it's got us build. It might be with Destiny in it too, how to build a quail pen. But it's really, really easy. Trying to think if I missed anything. But it builds your pens now. That way, this spring, you guys can get some quail, and this is all the room you need right here. And you can go less than this if you have a rabbit pen. If you get quail though, I would recommend having 5 females, and I'll show y'all the difference for you guys that missed it last week. I would have 5 females for every 1 male, for the fact the males are really aggressive, and they will fight, and they fight bad. Why are my quail not laying eggs? Because it's winter. It's because we're going into winter. Fall and winter, they stop. Ours haven't given us an egg in a month, maybe a little more. Fall and winter, they stop. It's due to the sunlight. You need around 14 hours of daylight for them to lay. Now, if you want to make them lay, you could put lights in here and leave the light on them all the time. They'll go back to laying, because that sunlight makes them lay. But we don't do that. We try to keep everything about as natural as we can. We let all our chickens out. Quail's the only thing we don't let out, because they won't come back. But yeah, they stop. Just don't even worry about getting eggs in the fall and winter. Just keep your birds alive till the spring, and they're gonna pay you back. They're gonna give you so many eggs. Listen, she was making something. She was making some kind of little noise. Yeah. No. It's just fall. It's the daylight hours. But you could put lights in here. We actually did an experiment with this pen and the pen over there. We put a solar lamp in that pen, and we were getting tons of eggs over there when this one wasn't hardly laying any whatsoever. And so the experiment we did with the lamps works. It really does. Do quail like to be held? No. They're just like any other bird. Let me show y'all the difference between a male and a female. They're pretty easy to catch. Let me set this tripod up real quick, and I'll show y'all the difference between males and females. What I was saying too is you'll want 4 or 5 females for every 1 male, because they do fight, and you'll know if you got too many males. For the fact when they breed with the females, they grab them by the top of the head. They grab them by the quail like they grab them by the top of the head, but you'll start seeing a bald spot. It'll look just like mine on the back of the females' heads, and they will actually start ripping the hide off. And you will definitely have to get rid of some of your males to calm that down, because when spring and summer comes, it's like it's just party time for these boys in here. It's crazy. But let me see if I can catch some real quick. I think they always know when I'm trying to catch one of them. All right. Come here, little buddy. All right, guys. Whoop, don't start. Hold on, let me settle them down. All right. These are our little Kuturnik quail. These are Japanese Kuturnik quail. Well, this guy right here is not happy. All right, this is a male and this is a female. Well, he is not going to cooperate. All right, I'm going to let him go. Let me get her. I'm always scared I'm going to hurt the wings. They're very jumpy. But she's got the spotted chest, the speckled chest. That's how you'll tell your females. I'll catch another male here real quick. We got time. Let me see if I can grab another male. Come here, buddy. All right, sit still. This is a male. See the copper on his chest? They are just squirmy as they can be. All right, I'm gonna set her down and I'll show you him. See, she had the speckled chest and he has the copper chest. And that's your male. Don't y'all want some quail? They are the best. Y'all would absolutely love them. I just tell everybody. They're so much fun. And so easy to raise and just such a high production bird. When you hatch these guys, when you hatch some eggs, in 8 weeks, from the time they hatch, in 8 weeks, they start laying eggs. And they're ready to process. They're full grown. Okay. They're full grown in 8 weeks. And now we don't, it's awesome to watch them just sitting and looking out the cage like they're watching a television show. Yep. Yep. Hey, Gail Southern Living, how you doing? How old are they when you tell male from female? Oh, good question. I want to say about 6 weeks, because we've never really thought about that until they start getting old enough to start laying eggs. Then you got to decide which ones you're going to keep, which one. Because what we do is when we hatch out we'll hatch out about 100 birds, or we'll put on the incubator 100 to 120 birds. And if 50 or 60 hatch, we just raise them all together. And once we find our first egg, we know it's time to start really looking. And what we do is we actually will go and catch. We'll sit in here, and I've done videos on that, where we will sit in here and catch every single male and put them in a box and hold on to them. Then we'll count every female, and we'll just reach in there and grab one male for every 5 that we have. And the rest, those go into the processing pen that we're going to be ready to eat. Because you will have to cull out a bunch of your males. If you don't, they will just get in here and fight, and they peck your eyes, and it's just horrible. They're really, really aggressive birds. You wouldn't think it to be a quail, but they are towards each other anyway. But guys, if y'all don't have any more questions, this is probably not going to go in an hour. Let's see. Oh, I missed a bunch. I messed that up. Hold on. I'm going to try to incubate some in a few weeks. I'm putting a light in this weekend. Well, go for it, Randy. Like I say, to each is their own. You know, if you want to do it, do it. I think it's great. Go at it. Let me know how it comes out too. Like I say, we did the experiment. That quail pen laid eggs like crazy. Drops Family Garden, how you doing? That pen went crazy when we put the light in here, and this one we wasn't getting hardly any eggs. So we did see a difference. We did see a big difference. Let's see. The build of the pen is called Building a Hoop Style Pen for Our Quail, and it posted 4 months ago. Not in the quail list. Oh, I had to go back and put that. Thank you so much. I had to go. Well, I dropped the ball on that one. But there you go. Building a quail pen. Building a hoop style pen for our quail. Okay. 5 to 3 years. Live 2 to 3 years, yeah. Let's see. My wife said live 2 to 3 years. She must be answering a question for me. I'm not sure how long they live. I know that the eggs production is supposed to be the highest the first 2 years, and then it'll start dropping off after that. And so we process them, and we just process and start over. Well, like our last hatch of the year, that'll be our birds for the following year. We just raise them up. The quail ever sit on eggs like chicken? And we haven't had one do that yet. What did the temps get? What did the temps get last night? It was cold last night. I woke up and go hunting this morning. It was 37. Can we see the birds moving around? Yes, you sure can. They don't like it that I'm in here, but they're doing their thing. They're just getting water. And the spring and summertime are just the absolute best. The spring and summer, when they have that little crow The males will have that little quail crow. It sounds so cool, and they do it all through the night. It is just awesome. It is absolutely awesome. Look at this guy. What's up, ladies? They're coming to see what's happening. But I hope all you guys want quail. And you guys that live near me, build your pens now. This spring and summer, I have no problem getting y'all set up. I tell everybody, I've gotten a bunch of homesteaders around here that started off with quail, and they are just going through the roof. One of the channels I watched, Two Cedar Micro Farm in Alabama, they drove all the way out here and got, I think, 100 eggs. They hatched them, and I think they're on their 4th hatch now. And I mean, he has got quail everywhere. He is obsessed with it. He is obsessed with it. And James was on here. I'm not sure if he's still on here. James from Petway Family Farmstead. Same with him. He's been coming down and getting quail eggs, and he is just, he has tons of quail because it's just such a fast production bird, and they just are delicious birds. And that's what I'm all about, teaching you guys how to raise your own food the easiest way, because we are super lazy and we want easiest, best tasting food that we can get. And quail are at the top of the list for me. Can you tell how old the quail are? I don't think they look much different. Every year they look the same to us. But these are 2-year-old quail here, and they look just like 8 weeks old. Once they hit that 8-week mark, this is exactly what they look like. You know, this is exactly what they look like. I hope I hadn't missed anyway. Yeah, Petway Family Farmstead, he's on here. He has went crazy with the quail. Everybody has, and I think this was his first year. And next year, I know that everybody, all these guys I got started, next year is going to be ridiculous. So any of you guys that live close, I can't even see what he's on. Any of you guys that live close, I will definitely set y'all up with quail. I have no problem with it. Have you had a problem with splaying leg? You know what? I've only had a couple. Robin, I've only had a couple that had to splay leg. And I have never, and I'm going to be honest, I will always be honest with y'all. I will never tell a lie. I've always just dispatched them. I'm not good at trying to rehabilitate and all that stuff. We've had some born with, or hatched with other problems too. That you just sort of have to dispatch. That's part of it, I think. I think if you're going to hatch out hundreds of birds, you're going to have a problem or two, you know. What is splayed legs? It's where their legs are spread apart and they can't hardly stand up and all that stuff. And but we really hadn't had but 1 or 2, if that. I do remember we had 1 though. Those turkeys. I want to know why you're making such a big deal. A little bit brown, huh? For all the info, it really helps me. Yeah, I'm trying to stay in here as long as I can to see if, because I know later on y'all go, well, I should have asked him this. But look at them. They're just awesome, aren't they? Y'all want me to go catch some more? I still got a few more minutes. I want y'all to remember the males from the females. That's something everybody always seems to forget. Give y'all a pop quiz. Don't nobody answer yet. Let's see if we can find more. Come here, buddy. Come here, young lady. That's a boy. Come here. All right. Let me get one feeding. It's 2 boys every time. All right. Now, do y'all remember which one's the boy and which one's the girl? Y'all remember? Let me see if I missed my comments. That's his genetics. I'm like, wow, okay. Well, this is our female. This is our male. He's got that brown copper color chest. Yep. Yep. And that's our little female. And look, you just gotta look for that. And of course, in the spring, there's no doubt which one's the males because they never be quiet. They're constantly crowing. It's really awesome to hear. Got a bunch of wild California quail. Awesome. Georgia used to really be eat up with the bob whites, and it's really, really gone way, way down. The girl has jewelry on. You can tell by the feathers, like most chickens. Yeah, drop family garden. The only way I can tell is by the chest on them. And then, of course, in the springtime, the males, they don't. Oh my gosh, when you get in here, it's really cool because it's every one of them's doing it. It's like they're all competing. It's really cool. Really cool. Girls have polka dots. Yep. 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 All right. All right. Well, can we watch you take care of the pigs next week? Yeah. Yeah, if that's what y'all want, great. That's what I want. Because this is really new to me, to sit here and try to think of things to talk. When I do my other live on Sunday nights, if y'all want to come hang out with me Sunday night, it's a lot of fun. It's just me and Travis, a lot of times, Travis or Kim. Let's see, girl. Yeah. I'm pretty good ways from Chattanooga, probably 3 or 4 hours from Chattanooga. I'm down here in Meriwether County. But it's just us chit-chatting and laughing and joking and cutting up and stuff. And it's back and forth with all the subscribers and stuff. But this is a little different. This is me trying to give y'all a bunch of information of things that we've actually just learned, trial and error. But they seem to work out. And we do have our fails, too. Speckled chest is female. Yep. Yep. Copper chest and female camouflage. Yep, exactly. Exactly. Okay. Dots, yep. Have to go, but has been, let's see, have to go, but has been wonderful, and I have learned a lot. Well, Sally, I appreciate you stopping by. I'm glad. I'm about to get off, too. Shane, you're under the net. Yeah, finally the school airs knocked all the nets out. Miss Sunday Live. Let's see, I missed Sunday Live because of the time. Yeah, I know. I hate that. I hate that. Splayed leg, hip issue, broken, dislocated. I was called the hatch by putting in flyers, slick rays, slick areas around the feed and water. Yeah, wood chips, hay, or sandpaper on the rays. Often predict. Yeah, we use wood chips. We use wood chips for everything. Never heard of the sandpaper bottom, but that'd be pretty smart. But we use the wood chips for everything. You know, we use wood chips for everything. Oh, okay. Thanks, James. Appreciate that. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna let you guys go. And if y'all wanted, Gene wants to, not Gene. Eric wanted. I'm thinking of your brother. Eric wanted to talk about pigs next week. That's going to be a good one because I don't know a lot about pigs. I know they love to eat water, you know, food, water, shelter. That's basically how we raise everything. But it'll be fun going in there with the pigs. I think that'll be a lot of fun. And let's see, me too, Andy. Shane goes, okay. All right, well, guys, I really appreciate you guys stopping by, checking us out. I hope you learned something. I hope you want some quail this spring. Start getting ready now. Build your pens now or buy some pens. If you know anybody trying to get rid of some rabbit pens, anything that'll hold these little birds in. And it don't have to be tall either. They could be little short pens. These birds don't have to fly around. They're meat birds. They're really not supposed to fly around a lot. You see these, you don't see them flying all over the place. Just something to hold your birds in, and food, water, that's it. And they will produce like no other bird. I think anybody with a little chunk of grass can raise quail. Super easy to raise. And I'll make sure if anybody that lives near me wants some eggs to hatch or wants some babies to take home, I will set you up. Get your pens ready, guys. Thanks so much for checking us out, and we will see you next week. We'll try this again.